This engine produces about 380 horsepower, about 367 foot-pounds of torque in this rear-wheel drive trim. If you get the all-wheel drive, you will lose out on some power. I don't know why they detune it for some reason. It makes about only 357 horsepower, I believe, and a lower amount of torque. I'll put it up on the screen here because I don't really remember off the top of my head. But something to note, if you want the fastest LS460, you're going to want the other rear-wheel drive. And mind you, this is an 11-year-old car. It's done like 92,000 miles and it feels brand new. It responds so well and just throws you into the back of your seat. It's really quite profound feeling. It almost makes it really fun to drive. This engine is so buttery smooth. The best way I can describe this driving experience is like driving around in a bowl of ice cream. That's the best way I can describe this experience, and really quickly too. It picks up speed so well. And one thing to note is that this throttle pedal, it has like this click in it. I know a lot of newer cars do that, but this click, I experienced this in the Kia Stinger as well, but that click happened about halfway through the pedal. The click is like kind of 90% of the way down in the pedal. So you kind of have to go past that click for it to give you all of the power. So that's just something to keep in mind. And you do feel that even as you're driving the car. But yeah, that engine just sounds incredible. And one thing to note, if we can get this channel up to about 7.9 million subscribers and about 350,000 likes for this video in the next week, I will straight pipe this car, because all the sound that this car makes comes from the engine, not from the, there is no exhaust sound at all. So I'm sure this will sound thunderous if it was straight pipe. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe. But I think that's enough about the engine. Engine is tried and true, reliable, excellent. Nothing really going on there. And actually, if you pop the hood open, you can't even see it. It's all covered up. So other things to note, this is an LS. So really, it has one main job to do, and that is to ride extremely well. And I am happy to report that it doesn't just ride well. This is actually the most comfortable car that I've ever driven in my entire life. In my short, unimportant life, this is the most comfortable car I've ever driven. That's big praise coming from me, because I'd actually just owned the Genesis G80, and my gosh, what a car that was. But the reason, I'll tell you why this car rides so well, that's because Lexus, they designed this car to have more of a floaty ride. You know, the G80 had a more reassuring ride to it because it had a more proper chassis. It was more solid feeling in that regards. This is tuned for maximum comfort. So it always kind of, you know, just floats over all the imperfections in the road. Literally every imperfection is dealt with so well. Sometimes over the like harshest of potholes, you'll hear it, but you won't feel it. Like, you'll hear a really harsh sound, like, ooh, that should have felt really bad, but you don't feel that inside the cabin. It's really a surreal experience. And, you know, the thing is, with these types of cars, once you experience something like this, it's really hard to go back to anything else. If you have this car on like a back road like I do here, it doesn't exactly fall flat on its face, to be honest. It's a different kind of fun to drive this car. Yeah, it rolls around, there's a lot of pitch, lots of roll, but you know, it's fun in its own way to hustle such a large car down like these tight little roads. And yeah, it doesn't fall flat on its face. It actually always feels composed. And the most important thing is that, I know this isn't what it's built for, but it always feels like a quality driving experience. Like, it feels like a $75,000 car when you're driving it. And I think that's the most important thing. Other reasons why this car drives so well, and the reason why I find it so enjoyable, is that this car hides its mass and its size so well. This car feels much smaller than it really is, and that's a really impressive feat. I love cars that do that. You know, only a few cars have done that for me. The Kia Stinger was one of them, the Jaguar XJ, that was another big car that felt way smaller than it was, and that just gives you so much confidence behind the wheel. You know, the G80 was a car that felt absolutely huge, and that car, I noticed it was 1 inch wider than this car. I know that doesn't sound like much, but it felt like a lot on the road. You know, blind spots are really well contained. You know, it feels like a fishbowl in here, and it makes driving a big, comfy car like this effortless, honestly. It's just really easy to drive this on highways and things of that nature. There is a sense of reassurance when you go down these roads, not like the G80, but in its own really comfortable Lexus way, if you will. And you know, with this engine, there's gobs of power. You know, it's damn near pushing 400 horsepower. So it's just a lot of fun to just floor it and just, you know, take some corners. It is truly fun because it's sports car fast. and it wallows around, but it's fun in its own way. Now, a lot of that has to do with the fact that it does have a proper suspension setup. That's a pro and a con to this car. You know, one of the weak links to this car, you know, this car, the LS460, it's not quite as well received as like the predecessors, the LS400 and the LS430s, because it does have its own little bits of problems. The suspension is one of them. The control arms are not the best. The control arms, the bushings, you know, all that, it has a tendency to prematurely wear out, so that kind of sucks, but you know, it is what it is. As long as you don't go with the Lexus OEM control arms, you'll be fine, because if you do that, you're pretty much going to go bankrupt, because each OEM control arm from Lexus costs like $500 a piece, and that is just absolutely insane. Close down my favorite road, of course. So you definitely can't be paying $500 to control them. That's going to be like $4 grand for a whole set, and that's just insane. So what you instead have to do is you got to go to Rock Auto and you got to pick up a set. You can pick up a whole set of Mevo techs for like $600 and maybe pay an independent shop to put them on it. So for like a whole like $1,000, you can put this LS460 on the road. So I didn't get a warranty or anything for this car. I just don't think it's worth it, because that's really the only main issue with this car. I know there's a lot of electronics with it, but honestly, none of them fail. So I guess, you know, it's really nothing to worry about. It's just the control arms, those kind of suck on this car. My car doesn't have any issues with them so far. They might have been replaced, I don't know, but I do know for a fact that the brake actuator has been replaced. That's a pretty pricey component, and that does seem to fail on these cars. That's around like $1,500, I believe, so something to keep in mind. And also the water pump. The water pump has also been replaced on my car, so that's good, but something to keep in mind on yours if you're shopping for this car. Now, yes, the suspension isn't the best part about this car, but I think there are definitely some things that you could do to alleviate some of the stress that you put on the suspension. That's kind of going for like the lightest model versions of this car. Now, the lightest version of this car would be actually the one that I'm driving right now, and that is the rear-wheel drive V8 with the normal wheelbase to it with 18-inch wheels on it. That's definitely going to be the lightest car. And this car, you know, it's still not like a Porsche 911 or anything. It's still like 4,200 pounds, but it's not terrible for a large car. Now, yeah, if you do opt for the 19-inch like 5-spoke wheels that these cars come with as an option, they do weigh more. I know they look amazing. Everybody in the forums, they want it, but they do add weight to the car. I mean, it's the 18s that I have on this car, they're like 26 to 27 pounds, I believe. So that's not too bad for an 18-inch wheel, and yeah, it does make the ride a little bit better. However, I would say that this is one of those few cars where you could actually option up the wheel size, and it'll actually benefit the car, because this car does ride really amazing. So you could get the 19s, but like an aftermarket one. So if you're willing to spend some money on your LS, one great mod to do is like if you can find a 19-inch wheel that weighs about 23 to 24 pounds, and you put some proper tires on it, like some extreme contacts or like the Michelin Pilot AS3 Pluses, this car would feel a lot better to drive. And I know this car isn't supposed to be a sports car, but it would just give it a better personality on the road, and I think that'll make this car go a long way. So all these things will help, you know, take a bit of the stress away from the suspension components, like the control arms, and maybe hopefully help it last a bit longer. I mean, I don't know how much it really will help, but I don't know, I'm just throwing it out there. Another little weak part about this car that I'm not a huge fan of is actually the brakes. The brakes, they feel so strange. I mean, they do something similar to what, you know, most modern cars do, and that's give you a lot of the bite up front. This car does that, but it doesn't correlate well with the stopping power of the car. You know what I mean? Like, it just, you get the bite, but the car's not stopping as well as it should, you know? So it gives you like this false sense of, you know, it's stopping, but it's like really not. And that kind of makes it concerning to drive, especially in bumper-to-bumper traffic, because you feel like you're stopping, but you're not, and you're almost gonna rear end the guy in front of you. And that's just something that you won't understand unless you actually take it out for a drive. I don't know if, you know, changing out the brake pads or even the rotors themselves are gonna change anything. There's no real vibration in the steering wheel or anything when I do brake, so I don't know. It's just, I just think they're tuned really strangely. So now that we have that out of the way, pretty good handling car, at least in the dry. In the wet though, not so much. I know this has a lot to do with the kind of tires that the previous idiot put on this car that owned this vehicle. It's like these Michelin Energy Savers or whatever, some eco tires that you would put on a Prius. It's 235 all the way around. That's the OEM spec, but these tires provide like no grip in the rain, absolutely none, because I literally just busted a whole donut in the parking lot today with the traction control off. If you have everything turned off in this car, man, it gets really wild really quick. I actually had it out in the rain, and I just punched the throttle in this car on an on-ramp. It totally got sideways on me, and if you don't know how to control that, it can be really unnerving, so something to keep in mind. So I think, if Continental, if you're watching, I know you sponsored the straight pipes, maybe you should do the same for your boy here at Exhaustsports Auto. I would love a set of Continental Extreme contacts on my car, so that would be really nice, and this is a good time for me as well, because I just shredded the tires. So yes, this car is actually pretty exciting. So that should make a lot of people happy. Now, flooring it around like that, don't expect to be getting good gas mileage. This is a big V8, 4.6 liters. I'm getting like 16, 17 miles a gallon. I mean, that's what it says on the piece of paper that the car came with, and that's not exactly a good thing. That's 16, 17, that's my average in the city, and it only takes premium as well, so that's something to keep in mind. It's over $50 to fill this thing up. So if you don't have the means to be filling this thing up like every week, I would maybe look elsewhere into like an ES Lexus or something like that. It's just the price to pay, I guess, around a big V8. Now, other things that this car does extremely well, it is so isolated, so quiet, like the wind noise is non-existent for the most part. This is another little issue that these cars kind of come with, is this kind of wind buffeting that happens around the mirrors of this car. My car does do that occasionally. I know it's a quick, easy fix. It's like a $20 fix or something like that. Maybe I'll look into it. But that's another little thing that happens with these cars. But other than that, it's so quiet, it is so isolated, a non-fatiguing driving experience. So I'm really glad to report that. Now, I talked about the handling. I know it's not the highlight of it, but steering is another part of this car. The only thing I don't like about it is that there is like this on-center deadness that I'm feeling. Like, that's almost kind of truck-like feeling in the steering. That's kind of annoying. If you're doing a lot of highway driving and you like to drive with one arm, one hand, you're going to be adjusting the wheel a lot, is what I've been noticing. So something that you might want to check out on a test drive. It doesn't really bother me. I mean, the car is so comfortable that little things like that don't really bother me too much. But something to note about this car is that the steering does require a bit more effort. But I think by far the worst thing about this car, my biggest complaint with this car, is easily this 8-speed transmission. Now, I know the LS cars in general are like the pioneers for many things in the luxury car market, and this car is no exception. This car is like one of the first cars to park itself back in 07 when this model first launched. This car does not have that option, but it was an option even back then. First car to ever have an 8-speed automatic, and you can tell when you're driving this that this is the first 8-speed because it is so clumsy. It's the only thing that really ruins the driving experience for me. It is so random. When I want power, there's like this delay in the transmission, and it does like this stupid revving thing. It'll go down in RPMs, and it'll like go up like 300 RPM like for no reason, and it's so strange, and just idles around 2,000 and just slowly drops down the revs. Like, it's so weird. Like, the behavior that this thing does is bizarre. I hate it. It's just not a linear experience, especially when you have such an amazing V8 like this, no turbos, no nonsense. It would be nice to actually have like a proper transmission along with it. And I know Toyotas always have like the worst performing transmissions, and this is no exception. I'm sure it's been fixed in the 2013 and 2017. I'm sure that car probably feels more buttoned up, more similar to the G80, and the 8-speed is more proper. So if you got a bit extra cash, like 30+K laying around, I would probably look into that model, or just like a G80 if this transmission bothers you that much. But this transmission, this car in general is best to be used as a cruiser. So if you use it in that way, this transmission is fine for the most part. And the best thing about these LS cars is that they are typically owned by older gentlemen, and they are going to baby them. They're not going to be driving it the way I am, and always trashing on the car. So that's good. Everything is really well kept and maintained, and that's a lot of why this car actually still feels brand new. I don't feel like I'm sitting in an old car here. Like, I feel like I'm sitting in a brand new car, and as a matter of fact, this car has more features than actually all the new cars that I've owned. So that's really something incredible. I mean, yeah, it feels planted, it feels great, it feels every bit like a 75K car. So, and I get why people absolutely just covet these LS Lexus cars. I mean, they are really superb vehicles to daily drive around, and I mean, you can't ask for much more than this, especially for a street car. You know, in America, it's like the perfect car because where I live, I mean, finding two corners that are connected together is like finding a four-leaf clover. I mean, we just don't have those kind of twisty back roads that most other countries might have, like in Europe. We drive straight primarily, and being in a big car, V8 engine, there's just no substitute. I mean, it's just perfect for the roads back here. I mean, in America, going fast in a straight line, that's what this car is all about. And, you know, that V8, there's no other substitute in engine for a luxury car, especially a large luxury sedan. You know, the sound, you know, even when you're idling, the way this thing sounds is just great. I mean, it just has a great tone to it that just no other like V6 or four-cylinder can give you. But yeah, overall, I mean, I think I pretty much covered just about everything about this driving experience. It's really surreal. And like I said before, it's hard to go back to anything else once you've experienced something like this. Really incredible drive. I can't believe just how cheap this car is. I mean, I know it's 11 years old, but you can pick this thing up for like 15 grand, maybe even less, depending on mileage and things of that nature. Yeah, really great value. I mean, if you wanted a G80 with a V8, that's probably gonna be about 10 grand more. So yeah, superb value for money, and you're getting that Lexus quality, dependability, reliability, all that stuff. Yeah, it has its own little troubles here and there, but it's really nothing to worry about. As long as you're not paying like crazy money at Lexus dealerships for OEM parts, you should be fine. And you know, if you're really bothered by it, I would say just get a warranty, you know, an extended warranty for it for about like 2 grand or something, because this is far superior to the other like LS Lexus, you know, like an LS430 or something like that. Yeah, it's a great car, but dude, this thing has like 100 more horsepower, way more enjoyable to drive. It's way more modern. It's just a superior car. So yeah, I highly recommend this thing. Now let's take a look at that interior and see what kinds of goodies that we can find with that. Well, inside of the 2008 LS460, and wow, what a place to be. But you know, more importantly, this is impressive not only for 2008 or 2007 or whatever, this is impressive for today. I mean, there are luxury cars that can't do interiors right now, and this just absolutely blows a lot of the cars out of the competition. So I can only imagine what this was like, you know, back then when it first came out. I mean, for instance, like this door design right here, this design of the door actually carries over even to the next like 2013 to 2017 LS460. I mean, that's just how great it looks. I mean, with the leather, the stitching, just a really superb design. It looks absolutely beautiful in here. The material choices, I mean, it's soft touch everything in this car. There's really no hard plastics anywhere. I mean, just a really nice place to be. And like I said during the drive, I mean, it's once you've experienced something like this, it's really hard to go back to anything else. It's really just that good. And again, feels every bit of $75,000 in here, let me tell you that. But I suppose let's start with that door. I mean, yeah, the design is great. I love the color. I mean, yeah, it's like this light gray, but it almost looks white, so that's really nice. And this gray interior gets this gray wood trim. It's real wood, but more importantly, it is the best looking wood I've ever seen. The grains, the details, really excellent. I haven't seen this level of quality in any wood trim in any luxury car that I've ever been in, so I really enjoy that. Now, this car does have memory seats, 3-way memory seats, so that's really convenient. I love the chrome door handles. That's a nice touch. A feature that I'm really starting to appreciate is this car does have automatic windows, but it's one touch up and down for all 4 windows. It is such a convenient feature. You won't understand how good that is until you've had that in your own personal vehicle, so that's really great. Door pocket space. I love the storage spaces in this car. It's really nice, really usable. You can easily fit water bottles in there. Not a problem at all. The speaker grille, this is something really important to note. The idiots who actually sold me this car was a garbage Toyota dealership. Those idiots knew nothing about this car. They actually said that this car had the Mark Levinson sound system. This car actually does not have that feature. This actually, it says Lexus Premium Audio System. That is not the same as the ML. And I'm pretty happy that this car doesn't have it. And I'll talk about that more in the trunk segment. But yeah, this actually has the 10 speaker audio, and it actually sounds really good. The Mark Levinson has like a 19 speaker, and I'm sure that sounds absolutely tremendous, but it does have issues. But this one, This 10 speaker has a ton of bass. The Tatiana Remix is going to absolutely sound bumping in here. Really, really nice sound system. So I can only imagine what the ML is like. But if you are interested in the ML, make sure that the car actually says ML on the center console and on the speaker grills here. Another great feature of the door is that this car actually has soft closing doors. I've always wanted that feature, and this car has it. It's on all 4 doors, and you don't have to slam the door shut. It'll just electronically close itself. That's really nice, and it still works even to this day after all these years and with all these miles on it. Really superb. So great little feature to have that. Only question I have for you guys is actually, like, what is this slit on the door here? I've never been able to find an answer to that. That's very strange. I don't know what that is. But let's move on to this little panel right here, right next to my left knee, next to the steering wheel. You have your mirror controls here, and the best part about these mirrors is that they're automatically folding, so you can set this button in the middle position, and what will happen is when you lock the car, the mirrors will fold in. When you unlock, it'll fold back out. So that's a great feature. I always put in the auto. You can also press a button, and you know, if you're going to a car wash or something, you can just fold it in for that purpose. So that's nice. There's an AFS off button. What that is it turns off the headlight swiveling feature. This car, you know, if you're driving at night and you turn the wheel like right or left, you know, the headlights will turn with it. You can turn that off here with this button. There's a P button right here. That's to turn off the parking sensor. So if you're like in a drive-thru or something and you're really close to, like, you know, the wall or something like that, it'll keep beeping at you. You can turn that off there. This car does have the heated steering wheel option, which is really nice. It only heats up this this leather portion here. You are grip and grain in this whip. I've always wanted that in the car, but it does not heat the wood trim, which makes sense. Now, I'm usually not a huge fan of, you know, electronic everything in a car. This car definitely seems that way. It certainly is. Everything's kind of motorized and everything in this car. Even this little coin thing, this coin tray holder, even this is like an electronic button that you have to press. It's very strange, but I guess it does add that extra level of luxurious touch to it, I suppose. Everything is smooth the way it operates, so that's nice. Coming close to the right side of the steering wheel, this car is a push button start. It does have an electronic parking brake, which I'm usually not a huge fan of, but this is actually the best implementation of an electronic parking brake. You know, the whole point of an e-brake should be that it's an electronic emergency brake, is that it should be convenient to use, and this one is. There's an auto button right on top of it. If you press that, every time you put the car in park, it'll automatically engage the parking brake. So if you're gonna do an electronic version of the e-brake, make it convenient for the end user like this car does. So that's really nice. Now, next up, I want to talk about these seats. Really superb seats. I can see why everybody goes gaga over like Lexus quality and all that. This is like one of the best leather seats I've ever been in. Obviously, they're super comfortable, but they wore so nicely. I mean, other than like the classic, you know, wrinkles you get on this driver bolster here, it's held up extremely well, and it's not super dirty or anything like that. One of the best I've ever been in. Now, let's talk about that steering wheel next. Yeah, like I said before, you are grip and grain. Little dream of mine, honestly, but it's an excellent steering wheel. It's appropriately sized for this car, and there are a couple of buttons on here as well. There's, you know, this is an older car, so if you have your phone or something plugged into the aux, which this car doesn't have an aux port, no USB ports in this car, but if you are connected to the aux, you can actually change the track, like the music that you're listening to, with these buttons here on the steering wheel or on the center console. So that's something to note. Kind of annoying. You better have your favorite playlist of songs ready if you're going to climb into this car, or else you're just going to die, you know, trying to change the music through your phone. And also, I hate the way the volume controls are mounted onto the steering wheel. I wish it was actually on the front here instead of on the side. It's kind of like weird to reach and find them. So that's something that I don't really like. There is a hold button here. What that does is if you're, you know, stationary, like at a red light or something, you can take your foot off the brake and it'll keep the car in place. It won't roll forward. So that's nice if you're like in a drive-thru or something like that. The center console, there is an infotainment screen here. Completely irrelevant. I don't even use it. All I do in this car is actually just plug in my phone, listen to music. That's it. So I don't even screw with this. I don't even know really what's built into it. There is navigation. Never even tried it. Pointless, honestly. There is some climate control options that you could do here, like, you know, fan speed and all that, but I love how they've actually separated the climate control from the screen. It has its own little section down here. Really convenient. Love that. You do have a CD player, of course, aux, like I said before, and you have a volume knob here as well. And, you know, this wood just looks absolutely beautiful in the center. This whole center console, I love it with the stitched leather. It's so nice with the wood. An excellent design. You might get a little bit distracted by this kind of inferior looking gear lever. This is kind of stupid, but it does work really well. It's really solid, so that's good. Ashtray, because you know you're going to be an absolute pimp in here smoking cigars, so you got to have that. I love all the physical buttons here for your heated and cooled seats, which yes, it does have front heated and cooled seats. The rear only has heated seats, but you know, still very nice. It does have a power sunshade in the rear. I've always wanted that in a car, and this car finally has it. Really pimpin' option right there, so that's cool. And I didn't talk about this too much during the drive, but it does have like these modes, essentially a power, an ECT, and a snow mode. The ECT is your normal mode. Power mode, I actually drive around in this often because I feel that the transmission reacts a little bit better in that mode. The best part about all these buttons is that they're physical, so if you leave it in the power mode, when you turn the car off and you start it back up again, it will be in the power mode. And if you have the cooled seats on and you turn the car on, it'll still remain on, so that's really nice. You can also operate the heated rear seats with one touch of a button here in the front. Center console space is nice, and it does like close automatically, like it does this weird thing. But regardless, you can't really use all the center console space because you have this tray in the middle, but whatever, it's fine for most people. But we're still not done yet talking about this car. If you move up, you will see this wonderful suede-like material. It's not a real suede, but it is the softest, nicest material I've ever seen for the headliner of any car. This is really nice, and I'm sure the straight pipes will like this. The softest sunshades ever, and it does pass, so that's good. Like this leather wrapped handle right here, that's just a really, all the little touches in this car are superb. This car does have a garage home link, which is nice, and it does have a sunroof. No panoramic sunroof, but just a sunroof, and it doesn't creak and rattle. Nothing in this car actually creaks and rattles, so that's a testament to how nice this car really is. I'm just gonna end off with one, little complaint that this car does have that some of you guys in the forums have reported. These vents up here on the top, they tend to crack this little plastic portion right here. It's like the weakest piece of plastic that's in this car, and it does seem to crack. My car hasn't done that yet. One way you can alleviate this is by putting a sunshade, sun blocker thing on your windshield after you park the car. That'll help it out a little bit, and it'll protect your leather seats as well. And wow, I pretty much covered everything about the front area aside from, yes, one last thing. The slowest opening glove box. It's big, but it opens up really slow. Another reason why I'm not a huge fan of having an electronic everything in a car, but whatever, it's gangster, it's cool. That's the front of the interior covered. Time to move on to the rear seats, finally. But we arrive in the back seats, which really is the best place to be in this car, I'm not gonna lie. This car is set to my driving position in the front, and I can legit cross my legs back here. This is the first car where I've actually been able to do that in. Really impressive back here. It's almost like you're sitting in an airliner, like a first class seat, and these rear cushions are so nice. Like, it's like a pillow. I mean, you can absolutely just fall asleep back here. I mean, it's, this is what you essentially get when you buy an executive sedan, and this is why I like cars like this more than little tiny little crummy hatchbacks and all that stuff. This is so boss, it's unbelievable. The quality continues even back here. Of course, it has to continue back here because that's where the boss is going to spend all their time. Again, love the stitching, love the wood, love the colors. A little carpet-like material on the speaker here, and more carpet down here. Very interesting choice of material, but I do like it. A little ashtray for both sides. Looks fantastic. You have like vents in the back, similar to like an aircraft, like I said, with the vents here. Really nice. And yes, you do get, if you fold down this large center thing, armrest, you will get cup holders, and also you open this up, you can control the rear sunshade and your heated seats, which is really nice. And it's just a really comfortable padded armrest, just a great place to be. A big slab of gray wood here, nice to look at. This isn't even the extended wheelbase version, and it feels so amazing back here. And you can even look at yourself back here as well, so that's pretty cool. There is an option for some LX cars. I think you have to have the executive package, I'm not sure, but some cars actually come with a refrigerator in the back. This car doesn't have it, actually has a pass-through, so it makes it a little bit more practical, I suppose. Yeah, some cars do have that option. Sitting in the middle will kind of suck in this car if you have this thing folded up, because the transmission tunnel does come up a little bit, and you are raised up here with the seat in the middle, so that's not the best. But carrying around 4 adults back here should not be an issue at all. One thing that does affect the practicality of this car though is that you cannot fold down these seats. They just remain stationary. But other than that, beautiful interior. I really hope you appreciated this whole in-depth look at this car. Let's finish this off with the trunk area and my conclusions. Okay, now you find myself in the rear. Now, one thing I'm not a huge fan of with this car is this electronic rear trunk opener thing. That was absolutely absurd. I actually timed this thing going up. It took like 8 seconds. That is absolutely insane. If I close it, it takes about 13 seconds. That's just way too much, way too long when you can just open and close it in like 2 seconds. But regardless, once it is open, you are greeted with a ton of space. I mean, you're a golf player, you're worried about fitting golf clubs back here, you can fit the whole golf course back here. That's how much space it is. This is actually the most amount of space I've actually ever seen in a sedan before. And one of the best things is if you actually flip open this carpet, you'll actually find a full-size spare, like with the rim that looks just like the rim that's on this car, full tire. I mean, it's superb. I mean, most of the luxury cars don't even offer a spare at all, not even a donut. So to see this full-size spare in here is really impressive. Also, I mentioned the ML audio. The reason why I'm glad that this car doesn't have it is because they do tend to break a lot. They tend to go bad. And the ML amp is actually pretty expensive. It's actually buried down here actually in the trunk area, and it's over like $1,000 if you want to replace it. So that's a pricey little thing to go bad. But yeah, that's a look at the trunk area. Very practical, very spacious car. Shouldn't have any issues really with space, so that's really good. Let's get into my conclusions. Now, closing this review off, I mean, the LS is just a superb car. I mean, that should be obvious to everybody, but more importantly, what an amazing used car purchase. I mean, for like 15 grand, how can you go wrong with this? And like 92K miles, I think a lot of people know, that's essentially like the break-in point for this powertrain. Really incredible, super reliable. That's kind of the main thing with this car. Not only are you getting the practicality, the space, the performance, the engine, the V8 engine, and all the luxuries, it's reliable. That's the best part. It's not like an S-Class or something that's 10 years old. I mean, all the electronics on here works, and that's kind of why I didn't even go for the warranty with this thing. I know it's not as favored as the LS430s and all that, but this is so much better. I mean, this is way more modern. The engine is far superior. This is really the one to go for in the used car market. It's kind of like the sweet spot in price. And if you're really that worried about it, you can just get a warranty for it, because it's a Japanese car. It shouldn't cost you any more than $2,000, so you can sleep well at night with that. Like I mentioned, really the weak points of this car: brake actuator, the control arms, water pump, and the ML amp. I mean, that's pretty much all of it. If you can find a car that doesn't have a lot of those options on it, like the ML and stuff like that, and like executive seating packages and all-wheel drive and extended wheelbases, if you could skip all that, I think it could help alleviate a lot of the issues that this car has. It takes a lot of the weight out, you know, puts less stress on the suspension components, you know, all that stuff. But I mean, mechanically, these cars are so sound. You shouldn't have any issues. It drives like a dream. It's like a brand new car, basically. That's how I feel about this, and there's no real greater compliment I can give a used car than that. Super solid. I get it. I get why there's so much love for the LS Lexus cars. I mean, it's just a high quality automotive experience, and one that I urge a lot of you to go out and seek, because it's really that good. So I hope you guys enjoyed this review, this 1080p HD review. I know there's a lot of interest for this cars, and I hope you can appreciate a more quality review of it that's more in-depth. And I hope it's, you know, if you're interested in the car, it helped you make, you know, a decision on whether or not to buy the car or not. I personally think it's a go. I think you should get it if you are looking at it. If you want the absolute supreme luxury car experience for a great price, this is really it. So with that pretty much concludes this review on the 2008 Lexus LS460. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below, and I would love to take a look at them. Thank you for watching. Take care. Goodbye.